Welcome in to the Punt Pass podcast. I'm your host, Drew Butler, joined alongside by my co-host, Jake Fromm. Be sure to follow us on social media. We are at Punt Pass on X and Instagram. I'm at Drew Butler. He's at From Jake. puntandpass.com and the Punt Pass YouTube channel, which got off to a ripping start with our premiere on the 10th season of Punt Pass, which we are now in. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This weekend, week 0 of the college football season. It's finally here. I think 7, 8 games. Dublin, Ireland, USC's playing. Virginia is taking on NC State on Saturday afternoon, which I'm excited about. Hawaii plays Stanford on Saturday night. So, Jake, we finally made it. College football is here. It's season 10 of Punt and Pass. It's week 0 of the 2026 season. How are you, my man?
I'm doing good. As excited as I am for college football to start, man, it's still being August and college football games kind of on the horizon. It's crazy. So super fun, super exciting for college football to be back. I need God to turn down the air temperature just a little bit.
Yes.
Still a little bit hot outside, but I think we're going to get some cooler weather coming up here this weekend. So can't wait, buddy. We are almost there. Year 10 of Punt Pass.
Yeah, let's go, man. From your mouth to God's ears. I think everybody down here in these parts are
We do talk on the regular, so I don't
good.
know. He may listen. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I like that. We got a big week here. Not only is it week 0, but Thursday night we'll be live at Creature Comforts Brewery in Athens, Georgia, for a live kickoff special Punt and Pass in downtown Athens at Creature Comforts Brewery, 6 p.m. We got a couple of giveaways as well, so make sure you're there. I think I've got a fun game to play with potentially 2 to 4 audience members. We'll get you guys up. We'll put you on the microphone, and it will be for a prize that you will absolutely want to get. So come hang out with us this Thursday night. That is August the 27th, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, August the 27th, 6 p.m. at Creature Comforts Brewery in downtown Athens. Live Punt and Pass with myself and Jake Fromm. We're going to have a blast, and it should be a great crowd because school is in session. So I cannot wait. Everybody come out and see us. We're going to continue to celebrate the 10th season of Punt and Pass all season long. So we got that coming up for you on Thursday. Hey, today's episode of Punt and Pass is brought to you by Umberto Injury Law. If you've been hurt in an accident and need a team that fights for you like we fight on the field, Umberto Injury Law is here for you. Umberto and his team know what it takes to win, and they'll stand by your side every step of the way. Visit UmbertoInjuryLaw.com to learn more or call them 770-888-8901. That's UmbertoInjuryLaw.com. I told you last season, I'll tell you again. I got in a car accident, and Umberto won for me. He can do the exact same for you. That is mi amigo. Shout out to Umberto Injury Law. All right, so week 0 coming up this weekend. I'm so fired up about it. Obviously, most college football teams get started next weekend, Jake, and that takes us to our first topic. Georgia wrapped up their second scrimmage of fall camp over the weekend. Man, it was a hot one. I know that for a fact. It was also the Letterman's luncheon, so a lot of former Georgia football players were in attendance, and the reports pretty promising. You know, Gunner Stockton, it was said that he looked really good. The running back room looked really good. From what I read, a couple of chunk plays. I think that's pretty standard when it comes to these scrimmages, Jake, on the offensive side of the ball, but the defense is really rounding into form. I feel like Georgia's just in a really good spot heading into the season. Knock on wood big time, but there's been no big injury news yet. We talked about it last week. School is back in session, so now you're kind of in that game week mentality, or at least making sure that you're prepared to be at top form when Saturday rolls around. But look, 12 days until kickoff. Tennessee State's going to be between the hedges in no time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I wasn't there at the scrimmage. Really wish I was. I had a signing event with your good buddy Aaron Murray over in Cumming. Had a good time. So yeah, I didn't get to go as well. I really wanted to. I went last year during the Letterman's luncheon. Really fun. Just really hot. It was hot where I was on Saturday. I know it was hot for the guys out there. As far as reports go, stuff that I heard coming through, I heard Gunner, just had another great showing and another great day. Heard there were a few drops out there. But like you said, also heard, man, the defense is just really rounding out into form. Pads come on, the defense starts playing a lot better. They start hitting folks, and it just gets really exciting from a defensive standpoint. Maybe a little less exciting for your offense, but I know there was probably a ton of special teams going on. Always, that's what generally always happens during these scrimmage days. They are long, and they are long. And I know the guys enjoyed it when practice finally rounded out was over.
Yeah, one of the names on the defensive side of the ball that made a lot of headlines coming out of that second scrimmage, our boys at On3, UGAsports.com, reporting that Kyron Jones is really emerging to be the starting safety opposite of KJ Bolden. This is a guy who's known to really be physical. I think that's a great attribute to have with KJ Bolden being able to cover so much of the field. He's very highly athletic, but that's what we're starting to see, right? And you're also starting to hear about guys like Chris Cole, who we talked about a week ago. Other players on Georgia's roster are saying, man, Chris Cole is an absolute beast. Can he be the guy that takes over games on defense for the Georgia Bulldogs? Again, I said it last week. In these first two games, can Chris Cole get off to a good start, get the quarterback on the ground, and then kind of be crowned by the fan base as the premier pass rusher for the Dogs?
Yeah, what's more important, to be crowned by the fans as being the pass rusher, or being crowned by your coaches of being that guy, and being the guy they try to highlight and emphasize and putting in the right situations? And so you get a feel of that during camp, but man, when you can actually tackle and sack the quarterback and have to bring him to the ground in these first couple games, that's what the coaches are really wanting to see. And how do these guys finish on plays on all these sack opportunities? So, this is always a tale as old a time when it comes to Kirby's style of defense and the way they run their defensive structure. It's just not super conducive for a star pass rusher to, really go get after the quarterback. It's just not that kind of defense. But if you're able to do that, man, the interior of the pocket, those guys really have a ton of success, right? Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, those kind of guys. That's where you see a lot of production. And as an opposing quarterback, it's really, really tough to operate when they're playing really well.
Yeah, in the interior defensive line, a name going into his second year who's been talked about a bunch, Elijah Griffin. Seems like, once you have that one season, that one off season under your belt, you know what your coaches expect out of you. You understand how to prepare your body week in and week out. Elijah Griffin, again, big things being expected from him in 2026. And in that second scrimmage report on UGAsports.com, they said there was an NFL scout there, few NFL scouts, of course, this time of the year at these scrimmages, and three names on the defense were being talked about ad nauseum by these scouts. It was Ellis Robinson, who you threw a ton of flowers to a week ago, Chris Cole, who I'm really high on heading into this season, and Elijah Griffin. So Georgia's going to have some dudes. We haven't even talked about KJ Bolden. I just mentioned him. Yeah. But being able to have that interior defensive line pass rush, one, collapse the pocket, but then two, free up a guy like Chris Cole coming off the edge, it's going to be exciting. Raylan Wilson, we haven't even talked about Raylan Wilson. I mean, he is a sideline-to-sideline linebacker, or Gabe Harris. Georgia's loaded on the defensive front. So finding the identity is key before the season kicks off. One part where they do know they have an identity is at the quarterback position. Again, in this second scrimmage, it sounds like Gunnar Stockton really has a great beat on what Coach Bobo wants him to do. They've talked about how they want to get more aggressive in play calling, maybe find some more chunk plays. Kirby Smart was asked about Gunnar Stockton and his progress throughout fall camp. Here's Coach Smart talking about his QB1.
Gunnar had said this offseason one of the things he was working on was layering some of his passes, specifically over the middle, getting a little more depth on it. Where have you seen, maybe throughout the summer and into camp so far, him grow in that area in addition to other parts of his game?
Yeah, Gunnar's improved immensely. I don't think it's in one area. I don't think it's. I think it's confidence. I think it's his mental capacity to handle a lot of information at once, process that information, and yet still make good decisions. Confidence in the pocket, his movement skills in the pocket have improved. His awareness of protections have improved. His ability to handle the pressure of the shot clock, a 9-word call, the defenses we're throwing at him, and getting people lined up has improved. But he's done some good things this camp. You can see his growth kind of in a lot of areas, because some of it's leadership, some of it's mentorship, and some of it's just throwing ability and getting the ball downfield. So pleased with Gunnar's growth and really pleased with his work ethic.
Okay, a pretty rave review there from head coach Kirby Smart regarding QB1 Gunner Stockton as he has taken the next step as the starting quarterback at Georgia. He talks about his growth. He talks about being a leader. Jake, what's the most important? I feel like I've asked you this a million times, but probably the answer changes from a guy who has experience being in Gunnar Stockton's shoes. What's the most important thing for him as we're 12 days away from 2026 season kicking off?
I think just feeling comfortable in the system, in what Bobo's asking him to do, what Kirby's asking him to do. Getting comfortable with the calls, like Kirby says he's doing, getting comfortable with his teammates. And he's been there before, man. He has a year under his belt. There is more pressure on him going into this year, right? A lot last year was exceeding expectations. But this year, hey, we've seen you play at a high level. We know that you can make it to New York and you can be a Heisman candidate. How do you handle that pressure all throughout the season, man? When you go into Tennessee State and you go into Western Kentucky, are you going to be able to put up the numbers and operate at a high level and move the offense? So it's going to be really fun to see Gunner do that and progress. And man, I want him to feel comfortable. And one thing I really want to highlight there that Kirby mentioned, because it just sounds so odd in today's college football landscape, was that Gunner is being a good mentor.
Yeah.
Man, he's being a good teammate. That's just, I don't know. To me, I just don't see that in today's college football as much. There's just not a whole lot of like what's the point for an older guy to go and mentor a younger guy, because
you're exactly right.
There's a chance that you could transfer somewhere else, or he could beat you out, or make more money than you. There's just so many other things that go into that, and it just speaks to his character and the kind of teammate he is. And that's something that I took from that, of like, wow, that means a lot to me. And I know it means a lot to his teammates, and it means a lot to the fan base.
Yeah, there comes a point where truly a rising tide lifts all ships within a locker room. And if your quarterback is the one leading the way, and we say it all the time, I mean, I say Gunnar Stockton is like Mike Winchell 2.0 from the movie Friday Night Lights. Very soft-spoken guy, not going to give you a lot when he gets in front of the podium. But I have a feeling that it's different when he's in the locker room. I think guys look at his leadership style and can really rally around him because they know that he cares about the success of the team more so than he does about his individual stat lines. So with Kirby Smart saying that, Jake, I totally agree. And I was on a radio show this week, Monday morning, and I said Gunnar Stockton is a very good college quarterback because he is a chameleon. And these guys looked at me with side eyes. They were like, wow, that's a compliment coming from me. You actually coined the term chameleon, because I said he can adjust his style of play unselfishly, because if he needs to hand the ball off and run and grind it out in a defensive battle, he's happy to do that. He can tuck the ball in the pocket, get you 5 hard yards, move the chains. He can do that. On the road against Tennessee, he can score 40-plus points. At home against Ole Miss, he can score 40-plus points. That, to me, is a great compliment, and I think Gunnar Stockton is the perfect fit for Georgia to be QB1 heading into this season because of one thing and one thing only: continuity in this day and age of college football. Same head coach, same offensive coordinator, same quarterback, same defensive coordinator. There's a lot to be said for that. Now Georgia has one thing to do: have a good regular season, get into the postseason, and get over that hump of that quarterfinal game. If they have another extended bye, everybody's going to be talking about that. And I think Gunnar Stockton is the right QB to lead the charge.
Yeah, this turned into the 3 C's of success, right, for Gunnar Stockton this year, right? Continuity, comfortability, and the last thing was confidence, right? Building that confidence with his teammates. He's going to build a lot of confidence, I think, in these first 2 games before we get into SEC play. Build confidence throughout the rest of the year. Like Kirby mentioned, Bobo's throwing a lot on his plate. He's handling a lot mentally, and he's still able to process and do some things. Man, when I saw him over the summer, man, he's playing with a lot of confidence. He's interacting with his teammates with a lot of confidence. Man, so that is going to pay dividends for him throughout the rest of the season.
You said continuity, consistency, and
comfortability.
Comfortability.
I like consistency.
Okay.
Too. We know.
I don't want to steal your shine. I got that wrong.
It's all right. Hey, we'll go 4 C's because
okay.
I know, right? Gunner's approach is going to be consistent. Doesn't matter if he's playing Tennessee State or if he's playing at home against Oklahoma, it's not going to matter. He's going to have the same approach, and he's going to get after it. So it's going to be fun to watch.
All right. Well, Kirby Smart gives a rave review of Gunnar Stockton. Kirby was also asked about a specific offensive lineman, one Juan Gaston, who, of course, had a good year, got banged up a little bit. He wasn't as available as maybe a lot of people wanted him to be late in the season. High hopes for Juan Gaston coming up in 2026. Kirby Smart was asked about Juan, and it's a little bit of a different tune than how he described Gunnar Stockton's approach throughout fall camp. Go ahead and roll it, Jared.
Juan's getting ready for his second year. Just how would you evaluate what he's been able to do to this point in camp?
Just the camp window, I would say his stamina needs to improve. Somewhere out in you guys' world, it became, this great off-season loss of weight and this great physical specimen, but he has to be able to play more snaps. He's got to have better stamina, and I've addressed that with him. I've told him, I said, you can do one or two things. You can read what people write about you, or you can listen to what your coaches tell you and listen to the truth. And we're very honest with him that he, to be able to start and play down and out, he's got to get in better shape and be able to sustain. Not only him, several guys have got to be able to play winning football. You got to be able to play for an 8-10 play drive in a row, and part of doing that is putting the pads on and going out and do it. You can work out with Coach Sinclair all summer. You can run all summer, but that doesn't mean you're prepared to go out in Sanford Stadium and play a 10-play drive when it's 110 degrees, and we're not where we need to be in regards to that, and that's not directly at Juan as much as it is everybody as a group. So I enjoy coaching Juan. Juan loves football. Juan goes out to work each and every day. He's got the flexibility to kick in from tackle to guard. He's a good athlete. He likes practice. He likes football, and he's fun to be around, but we got to keep getting him better.
All right. So obviously, I feel like that was directed clearly at Juan, but for the offensive line in general, Jake, as a quarterback, when you have a starting 5 offensive line, that 1 stays healthy, 2 has great stamina, 3 loves football, that right there is when you really start cooking with gasoline.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is kind of like the tale of 2 interview clips here. Gunner getting all the flowers and all the praise, very much deserved. And then this one, yes, most of it is directed at Juan, but then Kirby also uses it to talk about the entire offensive line, starting 5, 6, or 7 as a whole. And yes, has it been a hot August? I would say objectively, as a person out there living, I would say yes, it has been a pretty hot August. It's been pretty dry, but man, it's football camp weather. It is what it is. You're going to be out there at 2:30 in the afternoon practicing. It. And I will also say, it doesn't matter. Yes, doing more conditioning over the summer helps 100%, but it is just different when you practice. Practice conditioning is completely different than cardio conditioning. Man, you throw on the helmet, you throw on the shoulder pads, you start adding up the rep count and the load and all these things, and man, it is tough to get through. And so, having an offensive line that is well prepared going into the first 4, 5, 6 games of the season, and starting from a higher starting level than trying to get in shape over the course of the season. We need to find a way to do that now. It's going to help us run the football a lot better. You can get away with some of the pass protection stuff, but running the football is where it's really going to show up the most. And if these guys can get in shape now over these next 2 weeks, man, you'll get a better product running the football, which will be important for the entire team, the offense, and for Gunner.
It's going to be a very important part of the offense, running the football. Of course, Nate Frazier's back. He'll be the bell cow for Georgia heading into 2026. But the one position group that probably has the biggest question mark around it on Georgia's offense is the wide receiver room. I mean, this is something that everybody's talking about. Who's going to step up to be the guy? You lost Zach Branch. You lost Oscar Delp out of the tight end room. You lost Dylan Bell, who was a little bit of everywhere on the field. Noah Thomas scored a touchdown this weekend for the Cincinnati Bengals in their preseason game against the Bears. So who's going to step up? Is it going to be Talon Taylor? Is it going to be CJ Wiley? Hearing some things about Sokovie White-Helton as well. Kirby Smart, yes, he was asked about the wide receiver group. Here is what Coach Smart had to say about his playmakers on the perimeter.
I guess through
9 or 10 practices of scrimmage, which all have done so far. What have you seen from this receiver group as you try to get some separation and figure out which playmakers are going to get the ball?
Yeah, they work tremendously hard each day. I think they've had a good camp as a group. The quarterbacks and the O-line a lot of times will make your receivers. So there's not, receivers don't get to just go out and have success on their own. They have to have a lot of things happen to have the success they want to have. They have to take advantage of opportunities they give, and they have to go against good people in competition. But it's more than just them in order to have a success. But if you said, am I pleased with their work habits and what they're doing? Absolutely I am. I wouldn't say anybody in the room is dominating by any means. There's young players that are coming on fast, and by young, I mean first and second year, and then there's older players who are leading well and doing a tremendous job for us. So very pleased in that room.
Jake, I'm pretty sure that is exactly what you just said before we played that Kirby Smart clip. And I liked what he said. Going up against good competition is highly important for this receiver group. And when you're going up against Ellis Robinson, DeMello Jones, KJ Bolden every day in practice, paired with your offensive line, your quarterback, and your running backs all being one unit to open up those opportunities for the wide receivers, I think you're going to have some good opportunities in these first couple of weeks of the season to see who becomes your playmaker.
Yeah, I like what you did there, Drew and Jared. You gave us the good, the great news, right? Gunner's doing awesome.
Yeah.
You gave us the bad news. Hey, offensive line needs to get in shape. And you kind of hit us with this middle of the road news where, hey, the receivers are good. They're looking promising, but yes, there's a lot more factors into wide receiver success than just being talented on the outside, right? You have to have a quarterback that can throw the ball, have to have an offensive line that can pick stuff up and protect for your quarterback. But a lot of young guys that we know are in the room, there's a lot of potential in that room. It's a lot up to Gunner. It's a lot up to Bobo. Hey, how do you want to highlight these guys, put them in positions of success? And like Kirby mentioned, it is up to them to go and make the most of these opportunities. And I'm not talking about catching, a wide open over route, that Bobo dialed up. I'm talking about going up and making these 50-50 balls that Bobo is pushing Gunner, right, to give these guys a chance on, right? Can Isaiah go up and be a 75%er on these jump balls and on these fade routes than just a 40 or 50% guy? Man, when you're operating at 75% on those kind of contested throws, I think about Javon Wims, I think about Lawrence Cager. I don't want to go back and check the stats on it, but it felt to me in my mind, hey, that this is a 75% ball when I throw it to them. It's either going to be my guy's ball or nobody's ball. And man, a guy like Isaiah can give you that.
Yeah, Isaiah Canyon, the transfer from Georgia Tech, he is set to have a good year. 6'4", 215. More so of that Javon Wims, Lawrence Cager type body, back shoulder throws, backing out the defensive backs, going up and making those physical catches. If that is to be, I think you'll see it early and often in these first 2 weeks of the season, specifically in the first half. Highly efficient football, no turnovers, move the chains on third down, put some points on the board, gain confidence as a wide receiver room. And Talon Taylor as well, man. He's a guy that can take the top off the defense. Yep. Let's get him some shots as well and build up his confidence. It all starts with what, though? Protecting the quarterback. On the field, protecting the quarterback is everything. Off the field, Umberto Injury Law protects their clients with that same intensity. If you've been hurt in an accident, they'll step up and defend your rights every time. I promise you, they've done it for me. They can do it for you. Head to UmbertoInjuryLaw.com to see how they can help you, or call them when you need them. Keep this number in your phone, 770-888-8901. 770-888-8901. That's UmbertoInjuryLaw.com. All right, that's your Georgia report heading into week 0 of the college football season. Excited to get things rolling, there's no doubt. College football is in the news, hot and heavy this week. And for what reason? Something that has to do with the NFL, Jake. This is shocking. This is absolutely shocking. I absolutely love Todd Monken's quotes about it as well when he was asked about it, the head coach of the who? Cleveland Browns. Jared, throw this tweet up from On3, please. This is crazy, guys. Breaking news. Former Cleveland Browns tight end Dae'Quan Wright has committed to LSU, ESPN reports. Wright will make the move to Baton Rouge if he clears waivers. Waivers is what happens when you
Yep.
get cut from an NFL team. Dae'Quan Wright is saying, you know what? I'm good. I don't need to clear waivers, or excuse me, I don't need to get picked up on waivers and go
Yeah, don't pick me up.
to another NFL team. I'm going to go to Baton Rouge to play for Lane Kiffin, who was my coach when I was at Ole Miss. Now, of course, he's in Baton Rouge as the head coach of the LSU Tigers. But even crazier, Jake, LSU plays a football game against Clemson very soon, in like 12 days. And this kid's been on the field in NFL preseason games with the Browns all through OTAs, with the Browns all through training camp. He gets cut if he clears waivers, which I expect him to. He's back to Baton Rouge to go back to college football. This is insanity.
Hey, Jared, can you throw that graphic up for me real quick? But yeah, this is exactly like real life NFL ball, right? You get cut, or you get claimed somewhere, or you get traded, and then you have to go get ready to dress out and play a game that week. So very similar to some real life NFL stuff. Now, check this graphic out, Drew. Virginia Tech, Ole Miss, Cleveland Browns logo, then the transfer to LSU. What's the over-under on the graphics that we will see in the future of these NFL logos coming back to college on these, transfer, Twitter graphics? I mean, that is just mind-boggling.
It's crazy.
Todd Monken has been hilarious about this whole process. Monken even said Lane had called him. He didn't pick up.
Yeah.
I guess. Oh yeah. Now I know why. But I don't want to see this, man. Once you declare for the NFL, hey, that's it. That's your thing. You've moved on. I don't know. I don't want to see this in college football in the future. But Ryan Day said some interesting things at Ohio State. It's like, hey, if this is the world we live in now, absolutely, I want some NFL guys. Man, they have some more experience under their belt. They've been trained and coached by the best. And yeah, I would kind of gladly welcome those guys back onto my team and in my program. They're going to be high caliber talent and elite players. And I don't know, man, just not a fan. This is such a weird space we find ourselves in this wild west of college football.
It really is, Jake. You can pull that down, Jared. I appreciate that. Thanks for pointing that out. Virginia Tech to Ole Miss to the Cleveland Browns, now going to LSU. A lot to be said around this. You mentioned it. Todd Monken takes the podium, and he's like, yeah, Lane Kiffin's been calling me. I didn't pick up. I'm busy. Didn't know what he wanted. Now I know. I have a guy who I'm about to cut who's about to go back to college. And Monken said, bleep's crazy, isn't it? He was like, the world of college football is absolutely crazy. My question is this, though. Clearly, there has been a ton of outrage around this specific situation, much like the outrage that Texas Tech had to put up with when Brendan Sorsby was only handed a 2-game suspension after his wild sports gambling scandal. And what happened? The Big 12 came out and said, we don't believe in this. Josh Brooks, the athletic director at Georgia, said, we're not going to schedule Texas Tech for any sport. We have to set the precedent. Will the SEC or the College Football Court of Public Opinion pressure LSU to not allow this to happen? I also heard this. Keep in mind, there are roster caps on college football rosters now. There is a game for LSU in 12 days. If he takes a roster spot for the football team, somebody has to leave.
Somebody's getting cut.
Rumors are going around that Will Wade, the LSU basketball coach, might put Dae'Quan Wright on a basketball scholarship to save a football scholarship for Lane Kiffin. Dude, it's gotten so far out of hand. You know that I'm a players guy. I like that these guys are getting paid. Yes, it's 2026. Things should have changed a long time ago. But this is bad for high schoolers. This is bad for current student athletes at colleges. This is a terrible precedent. I don't know where it stops. I will be interested to see if the public outrage forces LSU to go against this decision.
Yeah, I'm glad you kind of mentioned and went down that road a little bit, but you mentioned high school football players. Man, they have gotten the bad end of the stick shaft here on a lot of this, right? You had the COVID year. Everybody's windows and clocks kind of got pushed a little bit. We get a lot more guys in college football now that are playing 4, 5, 6 years in college football. It is tough to be a high school football recruit now because your opportunities on rosters are getting smaller and smaller. The opportunities to play are getting smaller and smaller. Man, this just kind of sucks. We don't want this to happen in college football. This is just, I don't know, man, not good. I don't I don't want to see it. I don't know how else to say it other than, man, this is just not a good look. And I don't know if the SEC, like Georgia, what they did with Texas Tech can really kind of do anything or move a needle on this.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you mentioned the Will Wade possibly putting him on a basketball scholarship. Other than dollars, what's stopping the University of Georgia from, creating, take club rugby, for example, and elevating that, where now they take scholarship people and just having a team of
stashing football players.
Of 15 extra scholarships over there to have on your football team. What's stopping that from?
Nothing is stopping it except by doing things the right way and maybe losing a competitive advantage. I mean, you mentioned Ryan Day, the head coach at Ohio State. He's like, look, I get paid to look out for Ohio State. If it helps Ohio State, I got to look into it, right? If there is an elite talent that theoretically could come back to Ohio State and play football who's been on an NFL team and I'm allowed to have him on my roster, if it helps our team, it helps me, we'll do it. I actually don't blame him for that, but somebody's got to step up in a leadership position. Can't trust anybody right now. If I said it once, I'll say it a million times. The only group that's more incompetent than the NCAA is the federal government. And the one group that the NCAA is asking for help from is the federal government. You cannot make it up. It makes zero sense. It's terrible for the sport. Who knows what's going to happen? Thankfully, we've got football coming up this weekend, week 0, to look towards. We'll be breaking all that down on Thursday as we're live from Creature Comforts Brewery in Athens, Georgia, 6 p.m. We got a giveaway happening as well. Come hang out with Jake and I. Have a couple of ice-cold beers. It's going to be a hot one. You know that, but we'll be inside, and they're going to have delicious food and beverage for everybody to enjoy as we get closer to actual college football games kicking off. I'm so excited for that. So, again, this Thursday, August 27th, live at Creature Comforts Brewery in Athens, Jake and I, a very special kickoff live punt and pass to celebrate our 10th season of the podcast coming up. So be sure to come see us there. Week 2 of the NFL preseason just wrapped up. Lot of discussion around the quarterback position for one particular franchise right here in Atlanta. That, of course, would be the Atlanta Falcons. Jack Strand. How about this guy? An undrafted free agent quarterback from Minnesota State Moorhead. He has been on the roster since OTAs, Jake. Keep in mind, when training camp opened up, Michael Penix Jr. and Tua Tagovailoa were not practicing, so Jack Strand, getting the majority of reps at practice, started to impress some people. Had a pretty good little showing in his first game. Had a great showing this past weekend. The Falcons whooped up on the Indianapolis Colts, 12 of 17, I think 2 touchdowns, maybe a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. He's 6'4", he's 240. He looks the part. But
did you see that cool edit they did with Jack Strand and Matt Ryan? It was like a rushing touchdown, from like the 20-yard line, and they, put them side by side or over top of each other, and they look exactly the same.
Love it.
That was pretty cool.
But here's the thing, too. Like, Michael Penix Jr. just got cleared this Monday to participate in 11-on-11. That means full go. And he hadn't been able to do that all offseason, all training camp. Tua Tagovailoa, the reports coming out of camp are that maybe he's lost a little bit of the luster that was around him. Falcons only paying him $1 million, so if they want to move on from him before the season starts, no love lost there. They need to find a quarterback. I think you burn the ships with Michael Penix, give him every opportunity to be the starter. There's no better advantage in the NFL than having a quarterback on his rookie contract. But this Jack Strand kid, like, who do you think found him, right? Obviously, they were watching his tape. Matt Ryan got his eyes on him and was like, get this guy in the building. He's got some real talent. And then, of course, when you get your opportunity in the NFL, albeit against 2s and 3s in a preseason game, if it's good, you can't just dismiss it, Jake.
Oh, yeah. Man, this is a prime example of making the most of your opportunity, 100%. Right? Tua has been iffy and hurt throughout a lot of the offseason. Obviously, Michael Penix has been hurt. And my Atlanta Falcons insider has been like, yeah, this guy's been getting a lot of ones reps, and he's actually done a pretty dang good job at it. So, man, congrats to this young man. I mean, nothing has really been earned yet. He hasn't made the team or made the roster, but he's putting up a really, really good case and good argument for doing so. I mean, but when you're looking at it right now, Penix has to make the team. All right, they wouldn't have just
Yes.
signed Cooper Rush for no reason.
Right.
And then it kind of to me, it kind of comes down to Tua or Jack Strand, and who is going to get you through the first 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games of the season the best. Cooper Rush, who has been on the team for a couple weeks, or Jack Strand, who's taken a lot of ones reps and who looks really good in preseason games. Can you scratch by and make it to week 6 or week 8 and be right at the 500 level? Can you be 4-4? And then Michael Penix steps back in and takes over the reins. Man, this is it's a good problem to have, I think, if you're the Falcons, but it is going to be a tough decision, and that is going to be one roster move and spot that's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, it really is. And again, it all goes back to like which direction are the Falcons going in. In the NFL, I can attest to it. So can Jake. You just don't go out there and say we're going to tank. It's not like the NBA.
No.
These guys are out there bruising around on the field. You can get hurt if you try to intentionally lose. It just does not happen. But there is a real situation in which the Falcons quarterback room is a complete disaster this year, and they don't win a lot of games, and you find yourself picking in the top 5 of the 2027 NFL draft that is extremely quarterback heavy. So I don't know if Jack Strand is healthy, and if Michael Penix does get hurt again, and if Tua Tagovailoa does take another bad hit, all things that could 100% happen. Where do you go? I think you have to keep Jack Strand on the roster. He's shown enough with the tape that he's put out there that he is worthy of a roster spot elsewhere, if not the Falcons. I'll give you one more stat line from week 2 of NFL preseason. A quarterback went 19 of 31 for 181 passing yards. He also had 9 rushing yards for 2 rushing touchdowns. Do you have any idea who I might be talking about?
I know exactly who you're talking about. I saw the highlight clips.
Okay, so Jared, go ahead and throw this tweet up because this threw the Atlanta sports media into an absolute frenzy over the weekend. ESPN's Dan Orlovsky tweets out on Sunday after breaking down tape, quote, "The Atlanta Falcons should try and trade a late pick for Stetson the Mailman Bennett." And I tell you what, Falcons fans went absolutely berserk over this on both sides of the aisle. Georgia fans saying, absolutely, why not? Bring him in here. Our quarterback room's a mess. Dog haters are saying Stetson Bennett sucks. He'll never play in the NFL. He's not good enough. Other people are saying, why would you trade for a late round pick to get a quarterback to be a backup? Look, people, the Falcons quarterback room is in disarray. Jared, thanks so much. You can pull that down. Jake, here's my thing about Stetson Bennett, okay? People are so quick to be like, he's never played an NFL snap. I'm like, well, thank you. He's behind the NFL MVP, a Super Bowl champion, Matthew Stafford. They're like, Stetson Bennett sucks. I'm like, okay, you told me that for 3 years while he was in college. You said that he won because of the people around him. Yet Sean McVay, the best offensive mind in the NFL, said, hey, he's worth the 4th-round pick. Let's bring him in here. So now you have a guy who has been coached under Sean McVay for 3 years, who has learned under Matthew Stafford for 3 years, who has played relatively well when given the opportunity in preseason. Could he be a guy who could at least perform at the NFL level? I think it's a resounding yes. If the Falcons were in a situation to where they were like, hey, 7th-round pick for Stetson Bennett, and you know you're going to keep him on the roster, you make that trade 10 times out of 10. I firmly believe this. The only thing Stetson Bennett has been told with consistency in his entire life is that he can't do it. Yet, he does it.
Yet he does it time and time again, given the opportunity. Looking at this from a slightly different angle, if you want to put butts and people in the seats, especially for the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season, yeah, that's how you do
Yes.
it. Go start a Georgia football legend there in that role. Hey, if it goes well, great. You look like a genius. If it goes bad, well, I mean, how bad really was bad going to be anyway? It probably wasn't going to be all that well. When you look at it from a roster standpoint where they're at, hey, they're probably thinking the ceiling for Jack Strand maybe could be higher than, Stetson, who's already been in the NFL for a couple years. And so yeah, I feel like it's very highly unlikely.
Right.
But man, I think it'd be fun, something to see. I think Stetson has completely earned the opportunity, man. And I don't know if and when he'll ever get a shot to actually start some meaningful NFL games in the future. But it's going to be must watch and must see TV if and when it happens.
It's so funny because I was just tweeting out his statistics, right, from like the college football playoff games that he played in, and they are phenomenal. 4-time offensive MVP in every college football playoff game that he played in. And of course, he won 2 national championships. And everybody on social media was like, Georgia this, Georgia that, Georgia lover, you're biased. And I go, it's really funny because I never once mentioned the school. I just mentioned the stats. And you guys are the one mentioning Georgia. I go, I never once even said that. Okay. So to me, people are disqualifying Stetson Bennett because he went to Georgia. It just does not make any sense. It's not like he is some Skravinsky.
We don't do that with all the Ohio State quarterbacks who have come out and played in the NFL. We don't do that. We don't discredit them, even though they've had loaded wide receiver rooms. We don't discredit the LSU QBs who have come out, right? Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
We don't discredit them for having, top tier elite wide receiver talent in those rooms. I think it's kind of a bad argument, to be honest.
But you've said it on this very show multiple times. The amount of football knowledge that you gained being in NFL quarterback rooms, specifically with a Ben Johnson, you're like, dude, I learned more in 2 years under Ben Johnson than I had in the previous 15 years playing football. I mean, don't you agree that there is a lot to be said for learning under Matthew Stafford, being coached by Sean McVay for 3+ years?
You cannot put a number or a value on it, especially the McVay factor, and then especially getting to watch Matthew Stafford practice and play week in and week out. Obviously, there's going to be some things that you can't add to your tool belt, right? Some of the stuff and the throws that Matthew makes is just, hey, there's only a handful of guys in the entire world that can do that. It just is what it is. But, man, getting to watch that guy day in and day out, his approach, the way he interacts, the way he commands the huddle, fun, really stuff to watch and see and to learn. And I think Stetson has progressed a ton since just his time in LA. And you can tell from his fruit that he's produced in these preseason games.
I just could not agree more. And again, I'll preface it by saying that it is an absolute long shot that the Falcons would make that trade, but I found it very fascinating. And again, people are like, Orlovsky's an idiot. I'm like, okay. Yeah, he only played in the NFL for 12 years and he gets paid millions by ESPN to be a football analyst and break down quarterback play. But he's the idiot for the one even suggesting that it would be worth a late round pick if the Falcons found themselves in that situation. So that's the beauty of football. It's just, it's never ending, the gifts that it provides us from a content perspective to discuss. A lot to follow with the Falcons. And of course, we'll do that right here on Punt and Pass. Week 0 is here though, Jake. Couple of quick games. Noon on ESPN this weekend in Dublin, Ireland. North Carolina against TCU. TCU, an 8-point favorite at the moment. 14th ranked Southern Cal. They're kicking things off. 3 o'clock on NBC. They're playing San Jose State. A lot of hype for Lincoln Riley and Jaden Mayava out there in LA this season. I like this game. A great ACC till 3:30 p.m. on Saturday on ESPN. NC State taking on Virginia in Charlottesville. And then a great little couple of nightcaps as well. Hawaii taking on Stanford, 7 p.m. on the ACC network. And we got some late night football. Memphis taking on Dan Mullen and UNLV at 10 p.m. on Fox. Florida State also playing as well. So we're close, man. I'm fired up.
Man, we are so close. Quick around the horn while we're talking about quarterbacks. A couple of guys have announced starting quarterbacks. Tennessee, Faison Brandon, their starting quarterback.
Aaron Philo also got announced as a starting quarterback at Florida out of Prince Avenue.
That is a Prince Avenue boy right there. And then USF, LSU transfer Michael Van Buren, and then Arkansas, KJ Jackson.
And Max Johnson is going to be the starter as well.
Yes.
What school is he at? He's been at so many schools.
He's at Georgia Southern now.
Georgia Southern. He played for Ed Orgeron at LSU, I think was the statistic, which is just absolutely fascinating.
Somebody had a breakdown on Twitter of just kind of his history, his story. Man, he got a bad break, breaking his leg and had multiple surgeries. And man, he's had a tough go at it, but an incredible career up to this. I mean, just resilient. And man, I wish him the best down at Statesboro this year. It's going to be fun to watch.
All right, week 0 is here. Come check us out Thursday night live, August 27th at Creature Comfort, 6 to 7 p.m. Jake and I doing a live Punt and Pass to celebrate 10 years of the podcast. Follow us on social media at Punt and Pass on X and Instagram. I'm at Drew Butler. He's at Fromm. Jake, remember, Umberto Injury Law is your first call when accidents happen. Don't wait. Visit UmbertoInjuryLaw.com today. Umberto Injury Law, protecting people, fighting for justice, winning results. 770-888-8901. That's UmbertoInjuryLaw.com. Subscribe to the YouTube page. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you Thursday night live at Creature Comforts in Athens. And we'll talk to you next week. See ya.
We out.